It's not good for the country. The road back to normal starts with people not being offended by everything. So do whatever you got to do. Dye your hair back to its natural color, eat steak, go outside, enjoy life, crack a beer, not a Bud Light. Stop looking for reasons to be mad. Tolerance is not forcing me to celebrate your views. I, along with millions of others, will no longer bend the knee to this outrage. Well, joining me now is someone who has never bent the knee to anyone, never backed down from a fight, former Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. Ma'am, appreciate you coming on.
I'm glad to be here. That was a great monologue. We have a lot of weaklings out there, and you're right. Especially, I think, Carl, about yesterday, 75th anniversary of D-Day. Those 18 and 19-year-olds who stormed Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
You can't even fathom this generation doing that and
Right.
having that courage to do that. And so as we're losing that greatest generation, and we need to buck up, get strong, and really do everything we can to save our country.
Right.
And hopefully those young people will wake up someday.
I sure hope so, because we're far below recruiting goals, and we're looking at a potential conflict with China. Do you think we can somehow convince an entire generation to get fit, get ready, and stop being so offended?
Well, I think the ones that are fit and who would want to get into the military are looking at our commander-in-chief, bumbling Joe Biden, and saying, I don't want to serve under that guy. I don't want to serve in a military where they're doing drag shows on bases, where they're talking about going totally woke. We need a strong, robust military. And I think there's a lot of people who would love to serve, but not under those conditions.
Yeah.
And, our enemies must be looking at us in some ways when they see pictures like the one you're showing on your screen and laughing at us, absolutely laughing.
And while they're putting together commercials of actual soldier stuff, we're doing diversity, equity. It's just absolutely infuriating. New York City, though, I want to get back here. We're now covered under a cloud of smoke thanks to Canada. They're rolling out crack pipes and vending machines at a time where fentanyl is flooding through, enough fentanyl the other day to kill 40 million Americans.
I think these leftist governors, these leftist mayors, they're not even, they're really hinging on Marxist. They want our young generation to be depressed, drugged out, numb, so that they can push this nonsense on them. It's a lot easier to control people when they are reliant on drugs, reliant on government, reliant on welfare. When you are an individual who's strong, aware of your rights and liberties, you don't want any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's why they dumb them down in school. They don't teach the Constitution. They get them hooked on just decrepit, music and culture, hooked on drugs, and it's very startling what's happening to our young generation. I, in the course of my campaign, saw so much of that on the streets of Phoenix and some of the blue cities in Tucson. It looked like a zombie apocalypse. But then I saw little rays of hope when I saw young people joining up with our campaign saying, we want to get involved in politics because we realize that if we don't step forward right now, somebody else is going to chart the course for our future. And that future looks very, very bleak. So I do believe there's some young people who are seeing what's happening with these cities, with this terrible leftist policy, and saying, wait a minute, I don't want that for my future.
Yeah.
And maybe some of that crazy policy will wake them up.
Well, you talk about this crazy policy, and we talk about our schools and things like that. This is a bunch of people like me who I was never that engaged before, this stuff. Now I'm pounding podiums at my kids' elementary school because they're not listening to me. What is the trajectory of America where a bunch of people who just wanted to be left alone are now really PO'd?
Actually, I think it's good. I mean, we needed to wake up and get pissed off a little bit, right? Because we were busy living our lives. I know I was busy working, raising my children, and now COVID hits. And then this flush of, all kinds of crazy things happening since COVID. And where every day we wake up to another story that's just insane. And we're going, are we living on planet crazy here? And it's pushed a whole bunch of moms and dads to say, I am getting involved. Yeah. Maybe I don't have time, but I'm going to make time. I'm going to that meeting at the school board. I'm going to get more involved in school. Maybe I'm going to homeschool my kids. Americans needed a little bit of a kick in the butt to get more politically involved. Yeah. And I think it's great. This is a movement. Hey, Carl, if they've got you, you're working for a full-time job and you're also getting active with your kids' school, and if there's millions of other people doing that, that's a great start toward taking our country back.
I agree. And you talk about planet crazy. I want to talk about your own state of Arizona. Katie Hobbs, I read this and I thought this was the Babylon Bee. She vetoed a bill that would have banned the filming of porn in buildings funded by taxpayers, including K through 12 classrooms. This is because someone actually shot a adult video in a school.
It's what's happening in this world. I mean, I get so angry when I think about the depravity of people, that somebody would do that and that we'd even need legislation like that. But apparently that's where we are. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Katie Hobbs, the fraud that she is, would veto that. Remember, when she was a lawmaker in Arizona, a state lawmaker, she actually co-sponsored. She was so proud of herself that you put your name on a piece of legislation you're proud of, and it was to put sex education starting in kindergarten. So this the Democrat Party, for people who are watching and who don't consider themselves Republicans or even independents, they consider themselves Democrat. It's not the party it used to be. This is not the Democrat Party of JFK. Yeah. It's not. It's a Marxist party. And
that's the message we need to carry into this next election, because we want to say it's okay if you're annoyed at your own party. Come on over to the Republican Party, big tent. Kari Lake, always a pleasure.
That's right. Thank you so much, Carl.